welcome back to the channel. So I want to ask you something. Have you ever heard of a place that's so haunted, so cursed, that even talking about it is dangerous? A house where an entire family died performing a ritual to seal away demons. And now anyone who enters, or even takes a photograph of it, ends up dead within months. I'm talking about Himuro Mansion. And here's the thing. Nobody knows if it actually existed. There's no confirmed address, no official records, no photos that can be verified. But for over 50 years, people in Japan have been sharing stories about this place. Whispers, warnings, accounts from people who claim they've been there, or knew someone who went there and never came back the same. The mansion supposedly inspired the Fatal Frame video game series. You know, the horror game where you fight ghosts with a camera. The developers have always been cagey about whether it's based on a real location. They'll say it's inspired by Japanese folklore or influenced by historical events, but they never confirm or deny Himuro Mansion. And that's what makes it so terrifying. Because if it's real, that means everything that happened there, the ritual, the murders, the curse, actually happened. And if it's not real, then why do people keep dying? Tonight, I'm going to share 5 accounts connected to Himuro Mansion. Some are from the 1950s and 60s. Some are more recent. And at the end, we're going to try to figure out what's real and what's legend. Because honestly, I'm still not sure. Before we start, I need to tell you about the ritual, the strangling ritual. In Shinto belief, there are certain places where the boundary between our world and the spirit world is thin. These are dangerous places, cracks in reality where demons and malevolent spirits can slip through. According to the legend, the Himuro family was tasked with guarding one of these cracks. For generations, they performed a ritual every few decades to reseal it. The ritual required a sacrifice, specifically a young woman from the family, a girl who had never known the outside world, who had been raised in complete isolation, pure and untouched by the world. On the night of the ritual, the family would bind the girl with ropes attached to oxen or horses pulling in 4 directions: north, south, east, west. Then they would strangle her. Her death would create a spiritual seal, using her pure soul to close the crack and keep the demons trapped. But according to the story, something went wrong during the final ritual. Maybe the girl wasn't pure enough. Maybe she had fallen in love with someone or seen something that tainted her. Whatever the reason, the ritual failed. The seal broke, and the demons that had been trapped for centuries got free. The entire family went insane. They killed each other. Murder-suicide. Blood everywhere. And when police finally found the mansion weeks later, all 15 members of the Himuro family were dead. Their bodies were arranged in a circle around a basement chamber. And in the center, hanging from ropes, was the girl. The sacrifice. That's the legend. Now let's talk about the accounts. Our first story comes from a man I'll call Takeshi. He's in his 70s now, but back in 1962, when he was 17, he and 3 friends broke into an abandoned mansion in the outskirts of Tokyo. They'd heard rumors it was haunted. Kids from school dared them to go inside and take proof. Takeshi said the mansion was huge. Western-style architecture mixed with traditional Japanese elements. Crumbling stone walls, overgrown gardens, windows broken or boarded up. The front gate was chained, but they climbed over. It was late afternoon when they went in. The sun was setting. They brought flashlights, a camera, and a lot of stupid teenage confidence. The first floor was empty, dust everywhere, wallpaper peeling, tatami mats rotting, but no furniture, no personal belongings, like someone had cleared everything out in a hurry. They found the stairs leading to the second floor, old wooden steps that creaked under their weight. Takeshi's friend, Kenta, was in the lead with the camera. He kept taking pictures, flash after flash, lighting up the dark hallway. On the second floor, they found the bedrooms, still empty, but in one of the rooms, there was a smell. Not decay exactly, something sweeter, like incense, or flowers left too long in water. Takeshi's other friend, Yuki, said she felt sick, dizzy. She wanted to leave, but Kenta wanted to find the basement. He'd heard that's where the ritual happened, where the bodies were found. They found a door at the end of the second floor hallway. Behind it, a staircase leading down, not to the first floor, down to a basement. This is where Takeshi says things got strange. The stairs were stone, cold, and the air changed. It got heavier, humid, like walking into a wet cave. At the bottom was a large circular room, empty except for ropes, thick ropes hanging from the ceiling in the center of the room, 4 of them, arranged like a cross, and below them, on the floor, dark stains, old, brownish, soaked into the stone. Kenta raised the camera to take a picture. That's when Yuki screamed. She was pointing at the corner of the room. Takeshi turned and saw her, a girl, maybe 14 or 15 years old, wearing a white kimono, long black hair covering her face. She was standing completely still, not moving, not breathing. Kenta's camera flashed. The girl was gone. Not faded, not disappeared slowly. Just gone, like she'd never been there. They ran, all 4 of them, up the stairs, through the hallway, out the front door. They didn't stop running until they were back on the main road, gasping, shaking. When they got the film developed a week later, most of the photos were normal, blurry shots of empty rooms and dark hallways. But one photo stopped them cold, the shot Kenta took in the basement. In the center of the frame, right where the ropes were hanging, you could see a figure, blurry, pale, and she was looking directly at the camera. Kenta died 3 months later, hit by a car while crossing the street. The driver said Kenta just walked into traffic, didn't even look, like he was in a trance. Yuki had a breakdown 6 months after that. She started seeing the girl everywhere, in mirrors, in windows, standing at the foot of her bed at night. She was institutionalized. Takeshi doesn't know if she ever got out. The 4th friend, a guy named Hiro, moved to Osaka and cut off all contact with everyone from high school. Takeshi tried to find him years later, but couldn't. Takeshi still has the photo. He showed it to me on his phone. A photo of a photo, old and faded. You can see the ropes. And yeah, there's something in the frame. Could be a trick of the light. Could be motion blur. Or it could be a girl in a white kimono staring into the camera. Takeshi said he's never been back to that part of Tokyo. He won't even drive through that district. That account is terrifying. But here's the thing. Nobody's ever been able to confirm the mansion's location. Some people say it was in Nerima Ward. Others say Toshima or Adachi. Some claim it was demolished in the 1970s. Others insist it's still standing, just hidden, gated off, forgotten. Our second story comes from a paranormal investigator named Sato. This happened in 1978. He was part of a team that investigated supposedly haunted locations around Japan. They'd heard rumors about Himuro Mansion for years, and finally, someone, an elderly woman, gave them an address. She told them her father had been a police officer in the 1950s. He was one of the first responders when the Himuro family was found dead. She said he never talked about it, never spoke about what he saw in that house. But before he died, he wrote the address down and told her to never, ever go there. She gave that address to Sato's team. She said she wanted someone to document it, to prove it was real, so people would stop thinking her father was crazy. Sato and 3 others went to the location. It was in a heavily wooded area outside Tokyo proper. The road leading to the mansion wasn't on any map. They had to hike in about 2 kilometers from the nearest marked trail, and they found it. A mansion, massive, 3 stories, Western facade with Japanese architectural elements inside. The gate was rusted shut. The grounds were completely overgrown. Trees growing through the roof, vines covering the walls. They set up equipment, cameras, EMF readers, audio recorders. They were professionals. They'd done this dozens of times. The sun was setting when they entered through a broken window on the first floor. Inside, the place was wrecked, but not by vandals. It looked like something had torn through it from the inside. Furniture overturned, walls scratched, deep gouges in the wood floors. They made it to the second floor. That's when their equipment started going crazy. Every EMF reader spiked. The cameras kept shutting off and restarting. The audio recorders picked up sounds, whispers, footsteps, something that sounded like crying. Sato's partner, a woman named Keiko, said she felt like someone was following them, staying just out of sight. Every time she turned around, she'd catch a glimpse of movement, a shadow, a figure ducking behind a doorway. They found the basement stairs. Sato wanted to go down. Keiko refused. She said something was wrong. The air down there felt malicious, hungry. Sato went down alone. He took a flashlight and 1 camera. He called up to the others, describing what he saw. A circular room, ropes hanging from the ceiling, stains on the floor. And then he stopped talking. Keiko called down to him. No answer. She and the other 2 investigators went down the stairs. Sato was standing in the center of the room, directly under the ropes. His flashlight was on the ground. The camera was in his hands, but he wasn't moving. Keiko grabbed his arm. He didn't respond. His eyes were open, but he wasn't blinking. He was staring at something in the corner of the room, something the rest of them couldn't see. They dragged him out, literally dragged him up the stairs and out of the mansion. He didn't resist, but he didn't help either. He just moved like a puppet. It took 3 days for Sato to snap out of it. He said he didn't remember going into the basement, didn't remember standing under the ropes. The last thing he remembered was reaching the bottom of the stairs, but he said he dreamed. For those 3 days, while he was in that trance, he dreamed. He saw the ritual. He saw the girl. He saw her eyes as they strangled her, and he felt what she felt, the ropes tightening, the life draining away, the rage. Sato never investigated another haunted location after that. He quit the team. Last I heard, he became a Buddhist monk, trying to cleanse himself, he said. And here's the kicker. When they reviewed the footage later, the cameras had recorded everything. up until Sato went into the basement. Then all the recordings cut out. Every single device stopped working at the exact same moment. When they powered back on, Sato was already upstairs, being dragged out by Keiko. 45 minutes of missing time, and none of them remember it. Now, you'd think with a story like that, people would stay away. That the mansion would be sealed off, demolished, whatever. But the thing about Himuro Mansion is that nobody can seem to agree on where it is, or if it's still standing, or if it ever existed at all. Which brings us to our third account. This one is from the early 2000s. A university student named Naoko was researching urban legends for her thesis. She became obsessed with Himuro Mansion. She was convinced it was real and that the government had covered it up. She spent 2 years collecting accounts, interviewing people who claimed to have been there, tracking down supposed photographs. She even found old police reports, heavily redacted, about a mass death incident in the 1950s at an unspecified location in Tokyo. She built a map. Using all the different accounts, she triangulated the most likely locations. And in 2004, she announced on her blog that she'd found it. She posted coordinates, said she was going to visit and document everything. That was her last post. Naoko disappeared. Her family reported her missing. Police searched the area around the coordinates she'd posted. They found nothing. No mansion, no ruins, just forest. Her laptop was found in her apartment. Her research was still there. Maps, photos, interviews. But all the image files were corrupted, every single one. When you tried to open them, you'd get an error message, or the photos would be completely black, or they'd show static with a faint outline of something in the center, something human-shaped. Naoko was never found. The case is still open. Some people think she faked her disappearance to fuel the legend. Others believe she found the mansion and something happened to her there. Her mother still maintains a blog in her memory, asking anyone with information to come forward. Our fourth story is different. It doesn't involve going to the mansion. It involves a photograph. In 2009, a man named Ichiro was at a flea market in Nakano. He bought a box of old photos. He collects them. Vintage photography. Snapshots of random people's lives from decades ago. It's his hobby. Most of the photos in the box were normal. Family portraits, vacation shots. But one photo stood out. It showed a large Western-style mansion. 3 stories. Ornate, but decaying. In front of the mansion, barely visible, was a girl in a white kimono. Her face was blurred, but you could see her hair. Long, black. On the back of the photo, written in faded ink, were 3 characters, being sure Himuro. Ichiro posted it online. Within hours, the thread exploded. People were analyzing the photo, debating if it was real, arguing about the location. Some claimed they recognized the architectural style. Others said it was a fake. Then people started getting sick. People who downloaded the photo, saved it to their computers, printed it out. Within a week, at least a dozen people reported the same symptoms. Nightmares, sleep paralysis, waking up with scratches on their bodies, seeing a girl in white standing in their rooms. Ichiro tried to delete the photo from his computer, but it kept coming back. He'd delete it, empty the trash, and the next time he opened his photo folder, there it was. He burned the original print, smashed the hard drive, bought a new computer. Didn't matter. The photo kept appearing. He went to a Shinto priest. The priest performed a cleansing, told Ichiro he'd been marked by something old and angry. The priest gave him an omamori, a protective charm, and told him to never speak about the photo again. Ichiro still has nightmares, but the photo stopped reappearing. He won't talk about what he sees in those dreams, but he said once in an anonymous forum post that the girl in the photograph isn't dead. She's waiting, and every time someone looks at her image, she gets a little bit closer to getting out. The thread where the photo was originally posted has been deleted, but people claim they still have copies, and every few years it resurfaces on Reddit, on Japanese horror forums, on image boards, and every time it does, people report the same things: nightmares, paralysis. The girl in white. Our final account is the most recent, and it's the one that made me want to cover this topic. In 2022, a YouTuber who explores abandoned places in Japan, let's call him Rio, posted a video. He claimed he'd found Himuro Mansion. He had footage, a mansion in the woods, Western style, 3 stories, overgrown and decaying. The video was only up for about 6 hours before he took it down, but people saved it, mirrored it, and I've seen it. In the video, Rio walks through the first floor. The place is a wreck, collapsed ceilings, graffiti, but in the background, in some of the shots, you can see things. Shadows that don't match the light source, movement in doorways behind him, and in one shot, when he pans across a hallway, you can clearly see a figure standing at the far end, white, motionless. Rio didn't seem to notice it while filming, but viewers caught it. They started commenting, tagging him, telling him to look at the footage. He posted a follow-up video a day later. He was shaken, said he'd reviewed the footage and seen the figure, said he didn't see anyone while he was there. He was alone the entire time. Then he deleted both videos, deleted his entire channel. Gone. People tried to contact him. No response. His social media went dark. Someone claimed they knew him in real life and said he'd had a mental breakdown, stopped leaving his apartment, covered all his windows, wouldn't let anyone in. A few months later, someone posted screenshots of text messages, supposedly from Rio. He said he'd been receiving phone calls, middle of the night, no number. When he answered, it was a girl's voice, crying, asking him to come back, to take her with him. He said he burned every piece of equipment he'd used to film that video. His camera, his phone, his laptop, everything. He said it didn't matter. She was still calling. That was the last anyone heard from him. So what's the truth about Himuro Mansion? Here's what we know for sure. There's no official record of a mansion by that name in Tokyo. No property records, no historical documents, no confirmed address. The strangling ritual? There are historical records of similar rituals in Shinto practice, but nothing as extreme as what's described in the legend. Human sacrifice wasn't common in documented Japanese history after the very ancient periods. The Fatal Frame video game? The developers have said it's inspired by various Japanese ghost stories and folklore. They've never confirmed Himuro Mansion as a real place. So it's fake, right? Just an urban legend, a creepypasta that got out of hand. Except for the accounts, the missing people, the photographs, the consistent details across decades of stories from people who've never met each other. Some researchers think Himuro Mansion might be an amalgamation, a composite of several real tragedies. There were mass death incidents in Japan in the post-war period, families that died together in murder-suicides, houses that became too infamous to sell and were eventually demolished. Maybe the legend of Himuro Mansion absorbed all those real tragedies into one cursed location. Others think it's psychological, the power of suggestion. If you believe a place is cursed, your brain will find evidence to support that belief. The photos could be faked. The disappearances could be coincidence. The nightmares could be shared. Cultural anxiety taking a specific form. But then there's a third possibility, and this is the one that keeps me up at night. What if Himuro Mansion is real, but it's not a fixed location? What if it's a place that moves, or appears to people who are meant to find it? In Japanese folklore, there's a concept called Mayoiga, the lost house, a phantom house that appears to travelers who are lost or in distress. If you enter, you might find treasure, or you might never leave. What if Himuro Mansion is a Mayoiga, a place that exists between worlds, a crack in reality, just like the one the Himuro family was supposed to be sealing? And every time someone finds it, they're not just visiting a haunted house. They're opening the door a little bit wider, and maybe the girl in white, the sacrifice whose ritual failed, she's not haunting the mansion. She is the mansion. Her death, her rage, her trapped soul has become the structure itself. And everyone who enters, everyone who takes a photograph, everyone who even hears the story, they're feeding her, giving her power. Maybe that's why the locations never match, why the mansion can't be found when people go looking, why it only appears to certain people at certain times, because it's waiting, growing stronger. And one day, maybe, the door will open all the way. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know what I believe, but I do know this. While researching this video, I found something. An old forum post from 2015. Someone claimed to have a photograph of Himuro Mansion. They posted it. The thread is still up, but the image is dead. It just shows an error, except when I opened it 3 nights ago, the image loaded. For just a second, I saw a mansion, and I saw a figure in white standing in the doorway. Then my browser crashed. When I restarted it, the image was gone again. But that night, I had a dream. I was standing in a circular room, ropes hanging above me, and I could hear someone crying, a girl's voice, asking me to help her. I woke up with scratches on my arm, 3 lines, thin, like fingernails. They're gone now, but I keep checking, so I'm going to say this. If you ever come across a photograph of a large decaying Western-style mansion with Japanese architectural elements, and you see a girl in white standing in the frame, don't save it, don't share it, don't look at it too long. Just close the window and walk away, because some doors, once opened, can never be closed again. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you've ever heard of Himuro Mansion, if you've seen the photographs, if you've had the dreams, and if you have, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Hit subscribe for more stories from across Asia. Stay safe, and whatever you do, don't go looking for the mansion, because if you find it, that means it's already found you.